Good evening. I'm your host, Jack Remington of the Jack Remington NFL channel. This is week 14. The good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll start with the ugly first. I had an 0-5 ticket, entry number 1. Lost them all. That's only my second time in my career I've ever had an 0-5 ticket, but it happens. Colin Coward started 0-9 his first week. He had 2 entries, 0-9 and the push of his Cardinals. Somebody got pushed, but then he recovered. And I'm going to recover too. The inverse side, there was a guy on this dream team I was following. He had to go on 10-0 4 weeks and 5 weeks ago. Well, since then he's gone 2-3, 3-2, 3-1. So it happens. It's not that you get into a slump. It's just that we're rushing to the mean, and it's just the way it goes. I mean, there's nobody that's ever going to go 90-0 in this super contest. It's just not going to happen. That's your goal, to go 90-0, but let's face it, you're going to get some games wrong in this business. But card number 1, we had the Patriots for 5.5. They lost by 6. The Chargers beat them 6-0. Another half-point loss for the spaceman, which is me. Made the Jets plus 2.5. They were 2-0. They were winning the game. They got a safety against the Falcons. And the Jets have had more safeties in the last 3 years than all the other teams combined. They've had 5. And believe it or not, Atlanta was second with 2, but they couldn't score. They can't win. And we'll talk more about the Jets later. Had Washington plus 9. I guess Miami. What was I thinking? Had the Broncos plus 3.5. And Russell Wilson. They got down. They were down 14 points with like 6 minutes to go, and they got a touchdown. Or no, they were down 17 points, and they got a field goal, got a touchdown, and they got the ball back, and it looked like they were going to win this game. They were down by, I want to say, 5 points. And then Russell Wilson throws that little off ball towards the end. I mean, it looked like they were going to score. If I watched the highlights, no, I could throw that ball left-handed, blindfolded, and done a better job. I mean, that was Russell Wilson's worst game this year. He had 3 interceptions. Had the Broncos won that game, and that would have been their 6th in a row, and they would have really sent some shockwaves to the NFL with that small team they got on defense. Sean Payton's done a hell of a job. Some people are saying he might get Coach of the Year if they can get some more wins and backdoor a wild card spot. Well, we'll talk more about that later if I can remember. And I had Philadelphia plus 2.5. I went against a dream team. I went against other handicappers I knew. There's 10 handicappers I followed to see what they picked, see what they're thinking. And I hold my own against them, and sometimes I beat them. But I'm 1-6 against these guys. I'm 1-5 against these guys. And they all had the 49ers. They had their reasoning. I just thought that Philadelphia was going to suck it up and just pound them and eke out that win, but they didn't do it. The highlights they looked terrible. But they had an off game. They had some injuries. They were worn down from the overtime game they had the week before, and the 49ers were primed. All the stars aligned against the Eagles, and it happens to every team. But it was just a plain bad pick, and that's on me, and I apologize. And some more bad. With the good and the bad and the ugly. I just gave you the ugly. I'll give you some bad here. I lost 3 out of 5 on my teasers. I lost my 8-point. It's the first time I lost an 8-point teaser this year. That's 140 juice. That's big juice. I had Washington plus 17.5. They couldn't cover. The second league was okay. I had the Bengals. That was an easy win. Then we lost our 6.5 point and our 6 points. So we lost 140 with the 8-point teaser. So we lost 140. Plus 125, plus 120. So we lost 385 in teasers. But we did win 2 of them. So it's minus 185. We're still way up on the season. And this week I got 7 teasers because the clarity's coming back and I'm mad at myself. I got to make up I'm going to get that money back that we lost last week. The unit entertainment money only. You know, it's entertainment. Right? Right. You're not going to tell on me, are you? Bunch of liars. Anyway, entry cards number 1 and 2. We'll go over the entire slate, and then we'll go over some teasers, and then we'll have some mild discussion. Just a couple quick notes to keep the videos short. Everybody likes short videos. It's less editing. I like short videos too. So let's get to the card. Okay, card number 1. That's my dog ticket, my underdog ticket. And I started out that way this season. I'll finish that way. So my underdog ticket, taking Rams plus 7. They're at the Baltimore Ravens. Taking Cincinnati Bengals plus 1. Now remember, it's a stale line. The lines are set Wednesday, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and they don't change. That's one good thing about the contest, but you got to be able to read them stale lines. And right now, at the time when the line came out, the Colts were the favorite by 1.5, but when they set it at 1 here. I just woke up this morning and haven't had time to do any looking. But now the Cincinnati Bengals are favored by 1.5. Next game, we're taking Seattle Seahawks plus 10.5. They're at 49ers. We're taking Denver Broncos plus 3. They're at the Los Angeles Chargers. We're taking Monday night. There's 2 games on Monday night, and they're kicking off at the same time. It's the first time in history it's ever happened. And it's a good thing they're taking a slate away game from the 1 o'clock conglomerate of a bunch of games. It's hard to follow. It's one less game. There's 2 games you can go back and forth on Monday night. I think it's a good thing for the NFL and their fan base. We'll see what happens. We're taking New York Giants plus 6.5, and they're hosting the Green Bay Packers, who have something to play for now. So that's a card number 1, entry number 1 for the Fish Sangs pregame.com. It's the Las Vegas Hilton Super Contest Simulator. So the Rams, the Bengals, Seahawks, the Broncos, and the Giants. That's entry card number 1. Card number 2 is my chalk ticket. And I'm in the high 30s with my chalk ticket. I looked the other night, and I'm still, if I can get on a run here, I got a chance. But I got to pretty much win out. And I got to go 3-2 and 4-1 every week to have it, or 5-0 to have a shot. So here's my chalk ticket. Cleveland Browns minus 3. They're hosting Jacksonville Jaguars. The Atlanta Falcons minus 1. They're home. They're hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Taking the Houston Texans minus 3.5. They're at the New York Jets. We've got Miami Dolphins minus 13.5. They're hosting the Tennessee Titans. Because I have to have a 5th game, I'm going to take an underdog that I couldn't squeeze on the first ticket number 1. You only have 5 picks. So I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills plus 1.5. That's my dog entry. The only dog entry for card number 2. Now we're going to go over the whole slate really quick. The entire slate. And I'll make sure I don't forget the screenshots this time. I got it written down here. I can't forget. I made a couple posts on one of the threads on pregame.com, and plus I also have my documented picks that are on pregame.com that I had the Patriots plus 5.5, and they beat the Steelers. And the reason is that they, over the decades, they seem to have Steelers' number. That was one of the deciding factor to take this team, even though the Patriots have cost me and everybody else dearly this year. We've got the Cleveland Browns. They're home. They're hosting Jacksonville Jaguars. The Rams plus 7. They're at Baltimore. We're taking the Chicago Bears at home plus 3.5. They're hosting Detroit. We're taking the Atlanta Falcons minus 1. They're hosting Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Taking Cincinnati Bengals plus 1. They're hosting Indianapolis Colts. Houston Texans, we're taking them, the road chalk, minus 3.5 at the New York Jets. Taking Seattle Seahawks plus 10.5. They're at the San Francisco 49ers. Taking Las Vegas Raiders plus 3. They're home hosting the Minnesota Vikings. Taking the Buffalo Bills plus 1.5. They're at Kansas City Chiefs. Taking Philadelphia Eagles plus 3.5. They're at the Dallas Cowboys. We got Miami Dolphins at home, minus 13.5 for hosting Tennessee Titans. And that other Monday night game, we got the New York Giants at home, plus 6.5, home dog, hosting the Green Bay Packers. Going over to teasers. 7 teasers this week. And the way the numbers worked out, there's no 6-point teaser. I couldn't fit the 6-point teaser anywhere work to our advantage. So what I do have, I got a 6.5-point teaser. Got the Cleveland Browns plus 3.5, and the Las Vegas Raiders plus 9.5. I got 2 7-point teasers. First one is Philadelphia plus 10.5. The second leg is Seattle plus 17.5. The 7-point teaser. We got the Bears plus 10.5. And the Texans plus 3.5. I know I'm going through 0 and going the other way, but I have a reason why I'm leaning on the Texans pretty heavy here. Okay, so now we got 2 7.5-point teasers. First one is the Bengals plus 8.5. And then the second leg is Rams plus 14.5. The other 7.5-point teaser, we got the Atlanta Falcons plus 6.5. And the Denver Broncos plus 10.5. We got 2 8-point teasers. I know it's a $1.40 juice. I know it's Hodgeball getting 8 points. Okay, the first one is we're taking Miami Dolphins. We're knocking some points off. Miami minus 5.5. The second leg of that teaser is the New York Giants plus 14.5. The second teaser, 8-point teaser, is Seattle plus 18.5. And the second leg is Buffalo Bills plus 9.5. Now, I know what you're thinking about. I've got Seattle on here twice. I'm taking some risk here, but I'm playing a number and I'm going over the slate and general discussion. Sometimes the public is right. The public was right on New England. And it was the money was 2-1 coming on New England, and the public won. But this week might be a different story. I think the public might get slunkered a little bit here. The Patriots have just gotten shut out, and it's hard for a team to keep starting getting. I mean, they had scored like 13 points in 3 games. I mean, it's really, really bad for the Patriots. But they had the Steelers number. They over the decades they owned the Steelers, and that was my deciding factor. And the fact that Mac Jones was not playing, and the over/under got down to like the 31. I'm terrible at over/unders, but I didn't do anything with it. But I was tempted to take the over, and New England scored 21 just by themselves. You won't see that very often in the NFL. There's low over/unders. Although the unders have been bitch slapping the NFL big time this year, in the most lopsided fashion I've ever seen. So we got the Browns at home -3. As a complete line reversal, the earlier lines earlier this season, it was Jacksonville -3.5. Now Trevor Lawrence might not play. He's probably not going to play. And this is a good spot for Cleveland to bounce back. I mean, Cleveland's might be on the outside looking in. That team they got, Stefanski's got to get it together. And I think Jacksonville's going to start fading. And I just don't think they have what it takes. They lost a big receiver too, Kirk. They lost him too. At the Rams +7, they're at Baltimore. And my deciding factor in taking the Rams, now the Rams they're also relevant. Baltimore's got a pretty good lead in that tough division, and right now they would be the number 1 seed in the AFC. So a little fat and happy, but Lamar Jackson's got the flu. So he'd be handing the ball off a lot. But I think Rams +7. I think this is a big number. The Rams and the Green Bay are competing for a wild card spot now, and they got something to play for. Baltimore might be fat and happy, and Andrews is out too. Lamar Jackson's never passed it over 200 yards in any game ever when Andrews has been out. So it's going to hurt his passing stats, which hurts the game, and he's got the flu. And I got one guy telling me he might not even play. So if he doesn't play, this is going to get down to pick him. Next game, we got Chicago Bears +3.5 at Detroit Lions. Detroit beat them when the miraculous comeback last time, but they were at Detroit. Now they're in Chicago. Bad weather. Golf doesn't do it nowhere near as good as he does outside. Rain, wind, snow. I'm hearing all these bad things. I live back east, so I understand. And Chicago's defense, I mean, they've got a push in two wins against the spread. They've won 2 out of 3. They're playing a little better now. Next game, we got the Falcons -1 hosting Tampa Bay Bucks. Technically, Atlanta's in first place. They got something to play for. A little extra motivation on teams. Whoever wins that division might be under 500. And I think Baker Mayfield's starting to go downhill. You look at his stats those last few games, he's trending down. I think he's playing hurt. And he's just, I was never impressed with him much anyway. He's more of a loudmouth than anything else. But the Falcons, I still don't follow them that much and don't know that much about them. The Falcons are one of the teams I know the least about. But they got something to play for. That coach has got any gumption whatsoever, and he should be able to win this game. And he beat them once already at Tampa. Next game, Cincinnati +1. They're hosting Indianapolis Colts. The Colts only won 3 games last year. Now they're 7-5 or something like that, and they have a shot at getting first place in the AFC South. But the Bengals, and I told on the video a couple weeks ago that Brownie he made that one bad pick. And he was really angry at himself. But other than that, he looked serviceable. And then the other week, he just destroyed Jacksonville. He was 31 or 37 with no interceptions. He just sliced and diced that Jacksonville defense. 84% passing percentage. That's pretty good in the NFL. That's only his second ever to start. And now with his performance, the rest of the team is thinking, hey, you know what? We're a playoff team. Let's get this. I know we lost Joe Burrow, but So that's what I'm betting on. I'm betting on the Cincinnati, thinking, hey, the season's not lost. It's full speed ahead. I like Zach Taylor. I feel him and LaFleur of the Green Bay, to a degree, the guy for the McVay for the Rams. Those three guys are probably the best out of what they call the nerd coaches, the young new crop of coaches coming up. I think Zach Taylor is going to have a good game plan. He's going to slow down that Gardner Minshew of the Indianapolis Colts, although I do like Minshew for a very specific reason. Next game, here's what I need to discuss about. Houston, Texas, -3.5 at New York Jets. And I'm listening to a couple of podcasts on the way home, and everybody and their brother's betting on Houston. It's on Sports Insight, it's 70-30. That's pretty lopsided. And on the other site, so Houston's on pretty big on them too. The money's coming in on Houston. It's 68-32. I normally would take the Jets in this spot, but I heard two different podcasts, two different handicappers. One of them said if they cut the quarterback for the Jets, Thomas Boyle or John Boyle, whatever his name is, I mean, he was terrible. He was terrible. He was worse than Zach Wilson. And he leaked things to the press about how Robert Saleh's on the hot seat and he's going to be gone, blah, blah, blah. And when I looked at the highlights, I'm telling you, the Jets defense is not playing like they did last year when they won those 7 games early on. And they didn't win the rest of the season. After they lost the Patriots for a second time, something happened to them. I don't know if they quit on them, or I don't know if Saleh's, there's a problem somewhere. And then the second guy says, well, Saleh said, I'm going to put Zach Wilson back in, and Wilson says, I don't want to play. Really? When he wants to collect his money and don't want to take any more shots to the head or whatever what happened to him. This is a bad deal for the Jets. I mean, just end the season. Losing Aaron Rodgers was the death knell, but not really. The death knell was how Robert Saleh and his general manager and the ownership of the New York Jets handled the quarterback situation. They had Joe Flacco watching TV and eating popcorn, and he put on 25 pounds, and he's got the best rocket arm in the NFL the last 20 years. And he's wanting to get back in the NFL. Why didn't you pick up Joe Flacco? Well, Cleveland picked him up a couple weeks ago, and he looked pretty damn good. And they were covering that game. And until the wheels came off of 6 minutes left, he threw a pick 6 or whatever, and then kick off, and Cleveland fumbled the ball, and Rams got it back and scored. The wheels came off. But you can't put all that on Joe Flacco. He looked pretty damn good from the highlights I saw. There's plenty of quarterbacks that could come in, and from that week 2 moving forward, Saleh had got his brain on and insisted, I want Joe Flacco, I want XYZ, and not done this thing with the Zach Wilson. The players hate this guy. They just don't want to play for the guy. And I want to take you back to that one play. I want to say it was a Monday night game they played, and they were hanging tough, but they were losing. There was a 45-yard Hail Mary pass that was right on the money, and Wilson, their top receiver in the end zone, he had it, he dropped it. I didn't play in the NFL. I couldn't even make the first team on my high school team. I was too small. But, man, I'm telling you, the ball was catch. I mean, they make that play and they win that game. Their season, they could still fight for a wild card. They could still fight somehow beat Miami later on. They play again. Things could have been very different if that one play was the best he's thrown all season and he dropped it. And no one else sees it. I mean, I've told several people to say they watched the play and watched the game all year. It was too late. I'm telling you, watch it again and tell me. And then Wilson normally got these great hands. You get the ball to him, he's going to catch it. I'm telling you. I think the Jets, half the defense has quit on them. They're nowhere near the sack total they had last year at this time. And I just think that Robert Saleh mishandled his team, and he's on the way out. And he's going through the motions. And I think Houston's going to kick the shit out of him because Houston's got something to play for. They smell blood in the water. I know they got a rookie quarterback, and C.J. Stroud, but he's setting. I think should be Rookie of the Year. I want nothing. I'm going to bet against the Jets every week. I'm putting them against them every card. So I think it's an automatic win for me. Get me back in this. I mean, the Jets just end the season, and I was a big Robert Saleh fan. But if it's really true, all the shit I'm hearing on these podcasts from these people, just half of it's true. Saleh, you blew it. and then he'll just be a assistant coordinator wherever he goes for it. I don't think he'll ever get another head coaching job. I mean, because they were stacked on defense. His defensive philosophy is, in my opinion, the best philosophy in the NFL. You sack, you get the 4 best linemen available, and you keep putting pressure on that quarterback. That's your first line of defense. Then the back 7 take care of itself. Okay, but you put pressure on the quarterback. The NFL, football, is it's got a game within a game. Okay, there's 2 separate games in every play, and they're trying to get the ball to the players on offense, but there's a game between the offensive and defensive line. Okay, it's a game within the game, and the winner of that affects the offense trying to get the ball to the players. Okay, baseball is a different game. It's an oddity game in baseball and cricket that when you're on offense, the other team's got the ball. Very strange oddity, paradox if you want to call it that. But football is 2 games every play. There's someone's going to try to rush to stop the play before it even gets started. They've won that battle. Smash a first down or block a punt, block a field goal, sack the punter if you can get to him. Look at all the Super Bowl winners throughout history. Starting with the 2 Green Bay wins, Vince Lombardi, sacked that quarterback, rush him. I mean, they had great front 4. Dallas with Doomsday defense had a great front 4. Too Tall Jones, John Dutton. I mean, they had some beasts on that on that defensive line. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Mean Joe Green, Ernie Holmes. You ever see the legs on that Ernie Holmes? They had legs bigger than my chest. L.C. Greenwood. They had these beasts on their front 4. I mean, they were a threat to sack the quarterback every play. And they won 4 Super Bowls in the 70s and 80s. 49ers, that guy named Fagan, was a beast. Couldn't stop him. I'm just going there's no script again. I'm just going by memory. The Ravens of 1999, that defense, the Goose. Remember him? The Goose, Siragusa. The unstoppable force. I'm telling you, those teams, Tom Coughlin with the Giants beat my Tom Brady. He sacked them 5 times. How many sacks did New England get against Eli Manning? 0. Okay. Last year, Philadelphia Eagles, 70 sacks during the regular season and 16 sacks in the 2 playoff games. How many did they get in the Super Bowl against Kansas City Chiefs? Look it up. 0. They didn't sack Mahomes not 1 time. How many did Kansas City have against Jalen Hurts? 2, with 9 pressures. How about that? This was Kansas City defense was not that good last year. So, but the point is, the front 4 has got to be beastly, and Solly understood that, and he went against every other philosophy, the general managers and the owners, because they want to pay these big linemen. But Solly stuck to that, but he let the offense go to shit, and they had trouble with Zach Wilson last year. They should have canned his ass then when he made these racist comments. Whatever he did that turned the team against him. They just hated his smart ass. He's a smart ass punk. Okay? They should have got rid of him. But I don't know what it was. The general manager might have just overruled Solly. But the things I'm hearing, the two in a row last night. So I had an hour and a half drive home. They had construction last night. Even though it was a Friday night. They've been working on one-on-one for 10 years now. But the things I'm hearing, if just half of it's true, the Jets are toast. I mean, they're done. They've mailed it in. And the Texans, they got something to play for. And if they're hearing what I'm hearing, and you know they are, all you need is just half your team. Hey, let's kick them while they're down. That's the game. Next game. Seattle plus 10 at San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers had a big signature win against the Eagles last week. And I look for 49ers to win, still win this game, but I think I'm playing a number. I'm playing 10.5. Now, they played a couple weeks ago at Seattle. And I was a little worried. And I had the 49ers. I had to lay some chalk, 8.5, wherever it was. But you know what? Geno Smith had a slow start. I mean, I think he was like 0 for 5 his first 5 throws, and he had a pick and fumbled the ball, whatever. But then the 49ers got way ahead of him. Well, late in the second half, Geno Smith threw this rocket shot, and the guy's foot was it was like a 55-yard pass on the left sideline on the first down, and his toe was on the line. I mean, wow. I mean, he caught the 49ers by surprise. I thought he caught the ball, but the replay showed that he didn't. Second down, they bobbled the snap. Now it's 3rd and 10, and they something incomplete, and he had to punt. But I thought, Seattle they looked looked okay. And this 49 got the ball back, 1, 2, 3, and they were out. And in Seattle, they finally got a touchdown. Oh, here we go. You know, Seattle, they had a big special teams play. They had a pick six against Brock Purdy. That's what it was. And here we go. Here comes, they're coming back. But the 49ers sucked it up in the second half, fourth quarter, and stopped them. I mean, they covered and everything, but the 12-minute span there, Seattle looked like world beaters. I mean, they looked like they were getting their feet under them. They put pressure on Purdy. They were protecting Geno Smith. They're looking pretty good. So, and it's a division rivalry, and this is Seattle's last gasp. I mean, they got to do something here, because if they don't, they'll be on the outside looking in. I mean, they won't be able to win the division, and they won't even get a wild card spot, because we got the Rams and Green Bay coming up, competing for that spot. If the Eagles win out, they're still going to get that number 1 seed. Next game, Las Vegas Raiders +3. They're hosting Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota's getting Justin Jefferson back, and I believe they're playing Dobbs for the quarterback for the Vikings. Dobbs has done what he's done all his career. He starts out pretty well, then he just becomes either average or below average. He shocked everybody when he was playing with the Cardinals. He was covering every game. When they beat the Dallas Cowboys week 3, and then they started losing and wasn't impressive anymore. He just starts chucking the ball when he's starting to get sacked, and he's making some mistakes, and like we all do. And then they trade him. Minnesota gets him, and he shocks them for the big comeback win they had. And everybody's on Josh Dobbs bandwagon, including me. But now he's done nothing since, and now I'm hearing, now you know why he's a backup quarterback. He's not a momentum player. Then he starts getting inconsistent, and no one can really figure out what it is. And at this point for this video, it's hard to quantify, so I shouldn't speculate. However, the Raiders are playing hard for that interim coach. I forgot the guy's name already. Forgive me. Pierce. I think his name is Pierce. He's okay. He's doing okay. But anything to get the Raiders motivated. Once they get motivated, they're just as good as anybody else. And they got that Crosby guy on defense. He's a beast. I mean, as long as they got him, I think he's their best defensive player. As long as they got him on the field, I think the Raiders got a chance in every game. I think O'Donnell's going to be the quarterback for the Raiders. He's not bad. He's okay. Minnesota, well, they started 0-3. They were the best 0-3 team out of the 4 of them that they had. We had them. And they went on a little rump. And when Kirk Cousins got hurt, and the team rallied, and I like the coach and everything, but I just think this is a bad spot for the Vikings. And this Pierce, he might have the Vikings number. We're getting a field goal. Take it. Next game, tough game. Bills +1.5 at Kansas City. Kansas City got stronger by Green Bay last week. There was some controversy that the guy caught the ball or something. The referee said there was no time was called or something, and it cost Chiefs a touchdown. They got a touchdown 2-point conversion, and the game goes into overtime, right? Or something like that. And Kansas City needs to win. They want to keep up with the Ravens. They want the top seed. They can't afford to take a loss here. But guess what? This is Buffalo Bills. They're in the playoffs. This is their de facto playoff game. They got to win this game. They don't care if they're playing Kansas City or they don't care if they're playing Baltimore. They're not caring if they play the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 70s and 80s. They got to win this game. So the line's low for a reason. So you're going to get a maximum effort out of Buffalo. And if I'm getting points, I try to take a team with a maximum effort. And there's been some controversy with the Bills. I guess one of the coaches got a brand new pickup truck, including the license fees and taxes for a year. The tags for the truck. The players bought the coach a truck. I mean that stinks. I mean, McDermott's got to get a hold of his team. I mean, something like that, you could lose a team for that. You got to remember, they may be rich young men. They're the best of the best, but they're still men and they're still human beings. And one little thing can set you off. And in this game, you got to concentrate. You're on that field, and that referee blows that whistle to play ball. You got to be on, and nothing but total focus on what your job is. Your job is to win games. So I wouldn't last a week in the NFL because I'd be worse than Napoleon Bonaparte. Go see the movie. It's a great movie, by the way. I've seen it twice. I'll take my wife tomorrow. Yeah, I know it's football Sunday, but after the games, I'm going to take her to go see the movie. I think Buffalo's going to get the maximum effort. I'm looking for a high-scoring game. I'm looking for a shootout because Kansas City's going to put some points on the board. Kansas City's a pretty good offense, you got to admit, but I think Buffalo's offense is just a little better. So, and this game may come down to who's got the ball last. Next game, Philadelphia Eagles plus 3.5 at Dallas Cowboys. Dallas outgained them, and Dak Prescott, as long as he's been playing football, they say he was playing since he was 5 years old in the Pee Wee League or some kind of thing. You would think, for 85% of his life, he would know where the sideline is. He steps right on the line for a 2-point conversion, and he had to call it back. That costs us a push in the Super Contest. And Dak does that every now and then. He makes a big blunder. But now Philadelphia got beat down by the 49ers last week, right? Well, they're getting a couple of players back. And Hurts is not on the injury list. I think Philadelphia's they have a chance to win this game outright. They're going to go in. They're going to shock the Dallas Cowboys. Something wrong with their defense, and Seattle just proved that the other week, didn't they? And we had Seattle, by the way, on that Thursday night game. He shredded that defense. And Dallas is lucky to win that game. So Philadelphia smells blood in the water. And now they want some to prove a point. I know they beat Dallas once, but still, they got outplayed. And if Sirianni's got any coaching in him whatsoever. Oh, and the Dallas coach had surgery. He was in the hospital for appendicitis. So how good is he going to be? I mean, think about that. That could affect the game. It could. These teams are so even in the NFL. All it takes is one gaff or one big play, one blown coverage on the punt return, and that could make or break the game. These teams are that good. The NFL has been designed to make the games close for its fan bases. We're taking the Eagles plus 3.5. I should change my mind and put them on the card, but I'm not going to do that. Next game, Miami Dolphins minus 13.5. Hosting Tennessee. I said last week, I've been saying it for a while now. Just 2 years ago, they were a top-ranked team in the NFL, and they were going to look like they were going to rumble through to the Super Bowl. And they've been going downhill since. They've lost a couple of linemen, and their best offensive lineman, Lawan's been playing hurt. I don't even think he's playing at all. And Vrabel's a good coach. He's a Bill Belichick disciple. Same kind of philosophy to a degree. Derrick Henry's playing hurt. He's not what he once was. He's on the way out. The team needs to rebuild, and when you need to rebuild, you can't win games. You can't win as many games. You can't be the top-ranked team. That's life. The old Lion, he's going to get his ass kicked by the upcoming Lion in the Wild. That's life. It's a cycle of life. The old Lion knows he's going to get his ass kicked because when he was young, he kicked an old Lion's ass. That's life. So. And I like Vrabel. I like the Titans. I like all the teams. It's a cycle of life, and Tennessee's on the way out. They're on the way down, and Miami. They could get the top seed, and it looks like they're going to win the AFC East. I know Buffalo might get on a little run here. But Buffalo's fighting for a wild card spot. They're not anymore about winning the division anymore. They're just fighting for their lives. But Miami's in the driver's seat, and as long as they got Tyreek Hill, as long as they got him, they can score at any time. And they've been bitch slapping the sub 400 teams. Well, they've been bitch slapping everybody except the top tier. They can't beat a top tier team yet, but that could change, couldn't it? What's the worst that can happen to get one wrong? So I definitely got the better team in Miami, and the 5 fastest players in the NFL. The top 5 fastest players on foot are all playing for Miami Dolphins. Think about that. Tyreek Hill is one of them. Last game, New York Giants plus 6.5 were taken against Green Bay Packers. Green Bay's played well the last few weeks. They just had an emotional signature win against Kansas City last week. The Giants have quietly gone 3-0 against the spread the last 3 weeks, and they've won 2 out of their last 3 games. And they should have beat the Jets in the 4th week ago. They're playing a little better. I think Dayball's a clown for throwing his players under the bus. And they're probably just zoned Dayball out thinking, well, he's going to be gone in a couple of years next year anyway, so let's pay for ourselves. And let them yell at us, let them throw us under the bus. We're not really playing for Dayball, we're playing for ourselves. And I hope that's what the case is. Because if they do that, they'll be a good team to bet on. Them getting the home dog with 6.5 points against a Green Bay team that I still don't think Jordan Love's all that good. And the Giants do have somewhat of a resemblance of a pass defense. All it needs one pick six to stay in this game. So that's it. I'll be watching the game tomorrow. I can't wait. But I'll be watching. I'll have my clipboard there. I'll be taking notes. I'll be looking from screen to screen. And I'll have my little cell phone there. I'll have the covers.com or I'll have the ESPN, the NFL. Gives you first downs. I've deliberately not talked about halftimes very much. I can't prove what I'm doing. I can't prove any of this. I don't have time to sit there and get my big finger on the little cell phone and get on pregame.com. I took this, I took that, screenshot this. Thank you. Stay within your means. Always great day to be an American. Long live the NFL, the greatest team sport, and where coaching means the most, and all the sports combined. The NFL is it. It truly is the ultimate chess match of a physical game. See you next time.